Welcome to Unfiltered Friendship. Each and every week we bring you uncontrollable laughter, rants, and figuring out what the fuck we're doing with our lives. There is explicit content, so if you don't like it,
don't fucking listen.
I'm back!
It's about damn time.
It's about damn time. There has been a lot of shit going on. By the way, I am George.
Mason.
Bailey.
We've had a lot going on the past few months, especially me. And then there's stuff going on with you two at the moment as well. All good things. No one panic, please.
He's alive.
He's alive. So next week, we'll go into all of it next week because I wanted to bring this back on a good note for me. Can I just say, right, do you know what I find really fucking weird? I know, I'm getting back to like deflecting right now. Diverting? Is that the word? Diverting. Yes, diverting. Do you know what I find really, really strange?
What?
TikTok crushes.
Oh my Jesus Christ, you have had so many
I
of
just
them.
find them really weird.
And every single one you somehow get in contact with.
That's not true.
Girl.
That's not true. Not every single one.
Most of them.
Some of them.
Most of
No,
them.
some of them.
How many have you contacted then?
Like 2.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Oh, you got me there. Ooh.
Who are you thinking of?
To be fair, one of them wasn't on TikTok.
2 of them wasn't on TikTok.
Okay, so we're just counting anyone on social media that you contacted, and they're like, oh, hey.
Yeah. So 2 on social media. 3.
Like 5.
No. 4. No. I contacted 3. 1 contacted me.
Who contacted you?
I can't exactly fucking say, can I?
Matt?
Duh.
Duh.
Mm.
Duh.
Mm.
Duh.
Duh.
Do.
But I do have a new one.
Oh, my
Not
fuck.
surprised.
No, I haven't told you about this one. Have I?
No.
I mentioned it to Mason the other day, and I actually name dropped as well. And you didn't even know. Did you even realise?
I don't really pay attention to many things.
No. Right, TikTok. Josie Brown. Fuck my life. Gorgeous. Fucking gorgeous. I will need to show you one of her Sorry, Mason's just like put his finger next to babies. Okay. Yeah, I'll show you a video after we finish recording. But Jesus fucking Lord. Josie Brown.
This bitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Problem is she's in Liverpool. So
At least she's in England.
At least she's in England.
Yeah.
There is that.
Excuse me, I got a little cough.
Yeah, Mason's not quite well.
I'm poorly.
Mason poorly.
I'm broken.
Bailey's exhausted. Yeah.
But I'm currently overtired, so I've got energy.
He has way too much energy.
Way too much energy. Anyway. So getting back to the episode. This week is not going to be a normal week. Back in January, you know, the 1-year anniversary, we done that true crime episode.
Me and you.
The 3 of us, bitch.
Wait, you were... I can't remember.
Wow.
No, then never mind.
Because you 2 have sort of seats, and it's actually quite freaking me out, to be honest.
You're welcome.
I used to sit in the middle. I sit here now just so I force myself to speak into the microphone.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get you.
That is why I'm leaning like this, because otherwise I won't speak into it.
You don't need to be that fucking close to it.
Oopsies.
No.
Fuck my life.
It's
It's like working with children.
My God.
They say don't work with children, don't they? Or dogs. I'd rather work with dogs.
Yeah, I mean...
Anyway. So yes. January. We've done the true crime episode. I'm going to kill them. So I thought... It was like one of my favourite things to do. And when I said, like, if we get a good response, we can do it once a month. And obviously I haven't done one since because of things that everyone will understand next week's episode. So I loved it so much. And I know you two did too. Yeah. And we got such a good response from it. And I thought, why not bring this back? I'm classing this as season 2.
Okay.
It's going to be season 2. I've had my break. I needed it. Season 2 up and running. Kicking off with another true crime episode. So, you guys ready? Okay. Okay, do you want to get comfy?
My back hurt, bitch. You made me dusty. Never mind. We'll go. Let's go.
Are you okay now?
Yeah.
Hi, baby.
Yeah,
How you
carry
doing?
on. Carry on. You're fine.
Okay.
Hi.
So the story I'm going to tell you today involves a serial killer that still has not been identified nearly 60 years after the brutal murders of 5 people in California. This case has been described as arguably the most famous unsolved murder case in American history. Are you ready? You comfy?
Yep.
Right. I'll take you back to December 20th, 1968.
You were about 5 then, weren't you?
Goddamn.
17-year-old David Faraday picked up his girlfriend, 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen, at 8:30 p.m. on December 20th, 1968, for their first date. David was a senior at Vallejo High School. He was an active member in the school government. He was on the wrestling team and he was an Eagle Scout. I say he was like just an Eagle Scout, but he literally done everything for that. He was like getting rewards and he was all in pretty much for the Scout thing. I don't understand why, to be honest. He was just very devoted to it. He was also a member of the Presbyterian Church. Betty was a junior at Hogan High School and an honor student. She was Grand Royal Bride of the Primavera Council Pythian Sunshine Girls. I had no fucking clue what that was. I was like, what the hell is this? So I had to Google it. According to their website, the purpose of the Sunshine Girls is to lay a foundation of purity, service, and usefulness in all things that help to make the lives of those around us happier and the world a better place to live in. Cute, isn't it? She was fabulous. She was also a member of the Christian Science Church. So pretty much the pair of them were like good all-American kids. Like what you could expect for like teenagers growing up in the 60s, basically. So according to a police report, they had met a week ago at a church function and both decorated one of the halls for a music festival. Apparently, it was love at first sight. To the point where David started cutting classes to spend time with Betty and he would drive her home every day from school.
No.
So the night of December 20th came around and Betty had already spoken to her sister who suggested that David come over to meet the parents. When did you guys meet each other's
3
parents?
days later.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was it?
We weren't together. It was mainly just so we can go to one of our rooms and just chill without having to stay out all the time.
Got you. Yeah, fair. Okay. So he did. 8 p.m. David was at Betty's house. Both David and Betty told her parents that there was a festival at Hogan High School, so Betty's high school. And they were there. They were to go to that and then a house party afterwards. Betty's parents said okay, as long as they were home by 11 p.m. And off they went. But teenagers will be teenagers and they had other plans. You see, David and Betty didn't go to the festival at Hogan High School because there wasn't one. They made it up completely. Instead, they went to Betty's friend's house, which they said they were going to do anyway. But they left there at 9 p.m. Without telling anyone where they were going or what they were doing. They drove out to the outskirts of Vallejo and parked on quote-unquote Lover's Lane on Lake Herman Road. At 11:10 p.m., a motorist spotted the couple's bodies and instantly alerted the police. Betty was dead. David was still breathing, but later died at the hospital despite every effort from doctors to save his life. So you got to think, but that was just after 2 hours after Betty's friend last seen them. So not long. The police quickly got investigating this horrific attack and soon came to the conclusion that the person who attacked them parked his vehicle about 10 feet alongside the passenger side of David's car. He fired several shots at the car as he walked around to the driver's side. Bearing in mind, at this point, none of the shots hit either Betty or David. It was just purely against the car. Both of them scrambled and hurried to get out of the car on the passenger side, and Betty succeeded. As David managed to escape the car, the killer shot him in the head with a .22 caliber pistol. The killer then chased Betty and shot 6 times at her back and only missed once. I have a photo. Would you like to see it? Yeah. So for anyone that is following this, you can literally find everything online. So this is the car and that is Betty there.
Oh my god.
Do you want to describe what's going on there?
That is... Damn.
Do you want to describe the photo, guys?
Well... First of all, that looks like a moth on the floor. Like
It's not.
Big ass moth.
No, it's Betty's covered body.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I think in that photo... Let me see.
Probably see her.
Yeah, you can see her
you
shoe.
can
That's
see
her
her shoe.
foot. Yeah.
Yes.
You can see a lot of the blood.
Yeah, it's like blood stains all over the place. from the
Yeah.
looks of it.
And where you can see the escape from the passenger.
Yeah. But then you can see like a shattered...
Yeah, shattered car window. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
It's literally just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that was on Lover's Lane. I have a map for you guys to follow, which is numbered of where the murders happened. Okay?
Okay.
So, hang on a second.
So you gotta find it.
No, I've got it. I just got to get the bloody pages apart. There we go. Okay. So we're at number 1 at the moment, okay?
Okay.
So that is where we are. In Vallejo. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, during the police's investigation, they realised that this attack would have only taken 2 to 3 minutes to complete. Despite police's best efforts and a very intense investigation, no suspects ever came out, and the police came face to face with dead ends after dead ends. They just couldn't figure this out. They could not figure out who was brutal enough and who had the mindset to do something as horrific as that.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. So, 22-year-old Darlene Ferrin worked in a popular restaurant in Vallejo. So a lot of people knew her, and that is where she met her friend, 19-year-old Michael McGow. On 4th of July, 1969, so we're 7 months down the road now, Darlene and Michael went out on a date. A bit of a weird complication now. Darlene was married.
Dirty badge.
Dirty bitch. I don't know how she's getting away with all this. I don't know.
Dirty badge.
Anyway, around 11:30 p.m., Darlene picked up Michael and they were going to get a bite to eat. Darlene said to Michael that she wanted to talk to him about something, so he suggested that she pull up somewhere, and so she did. Darlene parked up at Blue Rock Springs Park, which was known to be another Lover's Lane, just 2 miles from Lake Herman, where David and Betty were killed. So we are now number 2 on your map. Darlene turned the car off and the headlights, but kept the radio playing. A few cars came by, but they were just like annoying teenagers being twats, basically. A few minutes later, another car pulled up beside them about 6 to 8 feet away and turned off their headlights. Michael was a bit sus about this car. He was like, I don't really like this. So he turned to Darlene and asked if she knew who this person was, because they were on their own, like, you know, a bit weird. And she said, quote, "Oh, never mind," end quote. And before Michael could question what she meant by that, the car left and sped off towards Vallejo. After about 5 minutes, the car returned. A brown Ford Mustang or a Chevy Corvair, they're not quite sure. The car pulled up about 10 feet back from Darlene's car. Leaving his headlights on this time, the driver exited his vehicle with a flashlight. Obscuring his face by holding the light at arm's length and shining it directly at them, he walked up silently up to the passenger's door. From his manner, Michael thought this might be a policeman and was reaching for his ID when the man raised a handgun and fired 5 9mm rounds through the window. He shot first at Michael, hitting him in the face and body. At such close range, several of the bullets tore through his flesh and entered Darlene. If you guys could have seen their eyebrows raising, it was like going to the back of their fucking heads. Fueled by pain and adrenaline, Michael kicked himself into the back seat, catching another bullet in his left knee. The attacker then fired at Darlene, hitting her in each arm and in the back as she turned away. Michael thought that the shot sounded quiet, perhaps fired through a silencer, but that's unknown. Still don't know. It's not been proven or anything. The killer was walking back to his car after this volley of shots when he heard Michael begin to yell, either in pain or in rage. He returned to Darlene's car, fired 2 additional shots at each of the victims, then turned around casually, got back in his own car. Michael was able to catch a look at the man's face and profile and described him as short, about 5'8", but extremely heavy set. Though, quote, "not blubbery fat," end quote. The man was at least 195 pounds and had a large face. In terrible pain but still conscious, Michael managed to turn the car's blinkers on in an attempt to summon aid. They then opened the passenger side door and tumbled onto the pavement. From there, he watched the attacker peel out, turn his car around and drive back in the direction of Vallejo. 3 teenagers drove into the parking lot, saw both Michael and Darlene and immediately got help. At 12:20 a.m, the police showed up. 20 minutes later, Darlene was pronounced dead at the hospital. Michael, however, survived after many surgeries. That's how so much detail got recovered from this.
I was about to say,
like, how did you get all? Yeah, because
how do you have what they said just before?
He was able to tell investigators everything that I've just read out to you. Michael came away with injuries to his back, leg, and jaw. At 12:40, Vallejo PD received a phone call from a payphone. The dispatcher at the time was Nancy Slover. When she answered the call, a man spoke in a slow, monotone voice and sounded like he was reading from a script. He said... Mason, would you like to read this out?
Give me.
So just the in between the highlighted bits there.
I want to report a double murder. If you go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway to the public park, you'll find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Damn.
And that was it. That was the end of the call. That's all they had. So, and that is literally all they had to go on. They didn't have anything. They didn't have any more evidence than the bullets that was in the victim. So now you got to think, victim-wise, we're up on 4. Kills-wise, we're on 3. No, we're on 2.
3.
And 3.
3 of them died.
Oh yeah, he was the
Michael
first survivor.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're on fucking frenzy now. On 31st of July, the Vallejo Times, San Francisco Chronicle, and San Francisco Examiner newspapers received letters claiming to be the killer for those murders. Enclosed with each letter was 1/3 of a cryptogram, so they got 1/3 each, full of misspellings and mistakes that seemed purposeful. This is the letter received by Vallejo Times. I'll read it out to you. Quote, "Dear editor, I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman and the girl last 4th of July. To prove this, I shall state some facts which only I and the police know. Christmas. 1. Brand name of ammo, Super X. 2. 10 shots fired. 3. Boy was on back, feet to car. 4. Girl was lying on right side, feet to west. 4th of July. 1. Girl was wearing patterned pants. 2. Boy was also shot in knee. 3. Brand name of ammo was Western. Here is a cipher that is part of 1. The other 2 parts of this cipher have been mailed to the SF Examiner and the SF Chronicle. I want you to print this cipher on your front page by Friday afternoon, Aug 169. If you do not do this, I will go on a kill rampage Friday night, and that will last the whole weekend. I will cruise around and pick off all stray people or couples that are alone, then move on to kill some more until I have killed over a dozen people." End quote.
Damn.
That's the first letter the fucking newspaper received. Would you like to see the cipher?
Yes. I'm gonna see it.
Don't read it, just look at the top part. That top part. That is the cipher. Do you want to try and explain what it looks like?
It's just a bunch of it kind of looks like hieroglyphics.
That's a good way of describing it, yeah.
It literally just looks like he's just used a bunch of hieroglyphics and just random symbols that he's found. But you've got very ranging different symbols, looks.
Do you know what I find weird? I think Bailey would have easily been able to decipher that. Because you've got one of those brains that can easily pick apart things and find patterns in things.
Yeah, probably.
Just don't read it. Don't read it yet.
Okay, I'm not reading it.
Okay. You can keep it.
I keep it.
This obviously sent the police into a frenzy. This unknown person has openly admitted to killing 3 people and attempting to murder another. But the question on everyone's minds was, how do we trust that this is the same person who carried out these horrific attacks? And if it is the same person, how do we find them? Well, Vallejo PD came up with a very smart plan that brings them more information than they were expecting. The Chronicle printed its part of the cryptogram alongside an article where Vallejo PD Chief Jack Stilts says, quote, "We're not satisfied that the letter was written by the murderer," end quote. He requested more facts to prove their identity. And on August the 4th, Chief Stilts got his wish. The Examiner received a letter. Mason, would you like to read this out?
I would love to.
Okay, so we've got, it's literally that. Okay, so I'll give you the first page and let me know when you want the other one.
From here?
Yeah.
This is the Zodiac speaking. Ooh. In answer to your asking for more details about the good times I have had in Vallejo, I shall be very happy to supply with even more material. By the way, are the police having a good time with the code? If not, tell them to cheer up. When they do crack it, they will have me. On the 4th of July, I did not open the car door. The window was rolled down already. The boy was originally sitting in the front seat when I began firing. When I fired the first shot at his head, he leaped backwards at the same time, thus spoiling my aim. He ended up on the back seat, then the floor in back. Oh my god!
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it?
Thrashing out violently with his legs. That's how I shot him in the knee. I did not leave the scene of the killing with squealing tires and plus racing engine. Yeah. As described in the Vallejo paper. I drove away quite slowly so as not to draw attention to my car. The man who told police that my car was brown was okay. That word.
Yeah.
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 About 40 to 45, rather shabby dressed, I was in this phone booth having some fun with the Vallejo cop when he was walking by. When I hung the phone up, the damn thing began to ring, and that drew his attention to me and my car. Last Christmas in that episode, the police were wondering how I could shoot plus hit my victims in the dark. They did not openly state this, but implied this by saying it was a well-lit night. Plus, I could see silhouettes on the horizon. Bullshit. That area is surrounded by high hills and trees. What I did was tape a small pencil flashlight to the barrel of my gun. If you notice in the center of the beam of light, if you aim it at a wall or ceiling, you will see a black or dark spot in the center of the circle of light about 3 to 6 inches across. When taped to a gun barrel, the bullet will strike in the center of the black dot in the light. All I had to do was spray them as if it was a water hose. There was no need to use the gun sights. I was not happy to see that I did not get front page coverage. What a spooky bitch.
Yeah. So they asked, he answered. So he's getting pissed now. This killer is getting pissed because he's not getting the media attention that he's wanting. Okay.
Such an attention seeker.
But do you understand what I mean by the misspellings?
Yeah.
It's bad, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, points were like, whoa. I
Yeah.
had to guess what that one meant.
That's what I mean. Like, you have to proper focus on these letters to even understand what they're saying, because the spellings, I haven't changed any of the spellings either. So
Yeah, I'd hope not.
no, I know.
It's
I know.
atrocious.
So how he wrote this is obviously, and it's handwritten as well. It's not obviously not typed. It's in the 60s. It's handwritten. So it was. Feel sorry for the cops and the newspaper editors that had to read that.
Yeah.
So this was the first time that the killer called himself the Zodiac, and that is how the persona was born, because he called himself that.
I see. That's really weird.
When was the last time you knew of a serial killer that named themselves? Like Zodiac, obviously you don't class like Ted Bundy or people like that, because that's just their names. But
No, that's
Like-
quite weird.
normally it is the investigators or the media that name them
Yeah,
because
they
it's
notice some
convenient.
kind of like
Yeah,
patterns within it. So
exactly, but not themselves. So it's fascinating.
would he? I don't know if that spoils it.
What?
actually. Would he call himself the Zodiac because he does it at night, or because of the stars and shit?
Don't know. It's
I mean, to be fair, we don't know his mind, so
the 3-part cryptogram. So this is obviously the one you got in front of you is part 1. Was solved in less than a week by a high school teacher and his wife. The solved cryptogram reads, I'm going to read it because it's messy as hell, like that. I like killing people.
Excuse me.
That's okay. Quote, I like killing people because it's so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all they I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife. And then just a load of random letters at the bottom.
Right.
Police tried to get fingerprints off all the letters, but they could not retrieve any. Okay, so they got proof that this is the same guy from all the detailed information they had given them. But there was one thing that they could not wrap their brains around. What on earth does he mean by slaves for my afterlife? Vallejo PD asked a psychiatrist at the California Medical Facility to analyze this cryptic message from the Zodiac. The doctor concluded that, quote, the writer felt omnipotent because of his fantasy about collecting spiritual slaves. This is someone you would expect to be brooding and isolated, end quote. The psychiatrist thought that the killer's praise of murder over sex could be an expression of inadequacy. So Vallejo PD are now on a hunt for a killer who believes that if he murders people, then they will have to reunite with him and bow down to him in the afterlife.
Right. That's the first I've ever heard of anything along those lines.
What do you mean?
Like, because like if that's some kind of like belief or something like that, thank you. Then like, where would that have sprouted from?
Exactly.
Because I can't imagine that killing someone in any religion, for one, would send anyone to a paradise.
This is the thing. There's so many different religions out there. You don't actually know all of them.
Yeah, but I can't imagine a religion unless it's, I don't know, like Satanism or something.
Ooh, yeah. So you've got to think, like, is he okay? Like upstairs, is he okay?
Yeah.
Right. At 7:40 p.m. on September 27th, Napa County Police Department received a call that they have been dreading for the 2.5 months since the last Zodiac attack. Officer David Slight answered the phone call, and on the other end was a man with a slow, monotone voice saying, quote, I want to report a murder. No, a double murder. They are 2 miles north of Park headquarters. They were in a white Volkswagen Carmen Gia, end quote. Officer Slate asked the caller to provide his location, but all he heard was the voice getting further and further away, saying, I'm the one who did it. With that, Napa County deputies, Dave Collins and Ray Land, drove out to Lake Berryessa with their stomachs turning with an expectation to what they are going to walk into. As they pull up next to the white Volkswagen, the police notice something on the side of the car. Before even registering what they were seeing, an ambulance arrives and rushes over to a small island connected by sand. There was a man and a woman brutally stabbed. The couple... Oh, shit now. I blame Mason. Thank you. The couple was that of 20-year-old Brian Hartnell and 22-year-old Cecilia Shepherd. Unfortunately, Cecilia fell into a coma and died a couple of days later in hospital, all from her injuries from this horrific attack. But Brian survived and gave a full recount of what exactly took place. What?
Is that his thing? Like, keeping one person alive to recount the whole story?
I don't think so.
I don't know. That sounds like something that... Because obviously with that Michael, it doesn't seem like it was because he went back and shot him again.
I don't think that's what he's doing. I think...
The first dude was still breathing, Michael was alive, and now this guy's alive. Mm-hmm. So something about that is a bit like...
I don't think it's what you're thinking, though.
Or he just has a thing against women. Because obviously he was saying about sex as well.
Mason.
Sorry.
Let me get into it. You're jumping too far ahead now, mate.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's in the script.
Here we go. So at 4, this is obviously Brian's recount of what happened. At 4 p.m, Brian and Cecilia were picnicking near Lake Berryessa. Sometime later, Cecilia noticed a man watching them. When this man walked from behind a tree, he put on an executioner's hood that had a bib with the Zodiac's symbol that has appeared in the 3-part cryptogram of that circle with a cross in the middle. So, got it? Yeah. And clipped on a pair of sunglasses where he cut holes for the eyes and the mouth. According to Brian, this man seemed to be 5'8" to 6 foot tall, dark-haired, heavy-set, in his 30s, and fairly unremarkable. On the killer's belt, he wore a long knife in a wooden sheath and an empty leather holster which would normally hold the pistol that is now in his right hand. In a calm, monotone voice, the hooded figure said to Brian and Cecilia, quote, "I want your money and your car keys. I want your car to go to Mexico." End quote. Brian instinctively handed him the keys and emptied his pockets. Interestingly, though, as the man picked up the change, Brian asked if he could help the man escape. He's trying to help. He's basically trying to survive whatever is about to happen. And the man says, quote, "No, time's running short. I escaped prison after killing a guard. I have a stolen car and nothing to lose." End quote. Still hoping that they can come away from this unharmed, Brian spoke to the man for a few minutes about his car. But before long, the man had a clothesline that he had just removed from his belt and asked Cecilia to hog-tie Brian up. After some shouting from the hooded man to get on with it, Cecilia did just that. At this point, Brian noticed that the hands of their attacker were shaking, and just as quick as Brian noticed this, their attacker changed courses. After tightening Brian's restraints and tying up Cecilia, the man stabbed Cecilia a total of 10 times, and Brian a total of 6 times. The killer hiked 500 yards to the road where Brian had parked his car, leaving several footprints behind. On the side of Brian's car, do you remember the police were staring at it? On the side of Brian's car, the killer had written in black felt tip pen. Would you like to see the photo of the car?
Yes. Yes, yes, please.
I have, if you can't quite make it out, I have what it says.
I'm assuming that's meant to be the dates of the people that he's killed. And then this one here is the ones which he's just done.
Okay.
And how he's done it.
So it says Vallejo.
Yeah. Zodiac.
Zodiac at the top, circle with the cross.
Yeah.
Vallejo. 12/20/68, which was the first murders.
Yeah.
7/4/69, which was the others.
Second.
September 27/69, 6:30 by knife.
Which was that?
which was them.
Yeah.
So he's that's literally all of them, right? This is what Officers Collins and Land were looking at. The dates of all 3 places of attacks and murders. Another victim of the Zodiac Killer. The police are now ramping up any investigation into this monster. Every county in the state are on red alert to try and track down this man who is now officially a serial killer. However, less than a month after attack... Would you like to see... Sorry, I forgot about this. You know obviously Brian said that he was in this hooded thing.
The executioner's hood.
Yeah, do you want to see what they drew? What he managed to do with the composite?
Oh,
that is how he was dressed. Describe it.
It looks like he's going for a very medieval kind of look.
Yes.
But it also...
What?
It's weird.
Bailey, what are you seeing?
It reminds me of Shrek 2 when they broke into the fairy godmother's.
Yeah.
And he chucks that cloak over.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah.
It's really weird.
It's weird, isn't it? But it's got that circle with the cross on it.
Yeah.
He's selling merch, is he?
Do you know what? Funny you say that. I will tell you. Say that to me near the end, okay? Because there is actually something to do with that.
All of this...
It's just the photo.
That's just the photo.
Yeah, but that is just so they knew
what it was.
Yeah, what it was.
Okay.
But yeah, so that is how Brian described what this man looked like. With the slits for the glasses as well.
Okay.
Yeah. However, less than a month after attacking Brian and Cecilia, the Zodiac Killer claimed his last known victim. Victim. It's the night of Sunday, October the 11th, 1969, and cab driver Paul Stein picked up a fare in northern San Francisco. At 5:58 p.m., 3 teenagers called into SFPD after witnessing a murder from their window on the second floor of the apartment block across the street. Paul Stein was shot point blank in the right side of his head. It is unclear if the killer was sat in the passenger seat the whole trip or just after the murder, but the teens saw him in the front as he removed Paul's wallet and keys and then cut a large piece from the back of Paul's shirt in which he used to soak up some of the blood. The killer walked away after wiping down the cab. Just 2 minutes after the call to SFPD, 2 patrolmen responded to the radio call. On their way to the crime scene, they pulled up alongside a heavy-set white man walking along the street and asked if he had seen anything suspicious, and he said he saw a man waving a gun and heading east. With that, the officers thanked this man and hurried away. Oh, what you thinking, Mace? You just gave me a look. What? Go on.
Is that him? That must have been him.
By the time the police arrived at the cab, Paul Stein was declared dead. On October 13th, so 2 days after Paul was killed, San Francisco Chronicles received a letter. Do you want to read it? Or do you want me to read it?
I'll read it.
Yep. Actually, Bailey, this one's actually not too bad. Do you want to read it?
No.
Okay. Obviously, we're not getting Bailey to read any of this because of his dyslexia. We don't want to put him through any torture.
This is the Zodiac speaking.
Oh, crikey, Mace. I was in it then.
Okay.
Jesus.
I am the murderer of the taxi driver over by Washington Street plus Maple Street last night. To prove this, here is a blood-stained piece of his shirt. I am the same man who did in the people in the North Bay area, the San Francisco... Oh, I've lost myself. There we go. Yep. The San Francisco police could have caught me last night. It was him. Oh. If they had searched the park properly instead of holding off road races with their motorcycles, seeing who could make the most noise. The car drivers should have just parked their cars and sat there quietly, waiting for me to come out of cover. School children make nice targets. I think I shall wipe out a school bus some morning. Just shoot out the front tire, and then pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out. Crazy bastard. What a bitch.
So he is now, yes, he's admitted to Paul's murder, but now he's threatening children.
That was him.
That was him.
The person that... These fucking dickheads.
So the officer, the person that the officer saw, that was him. That was the Zodiac.
Fucking dickheads.
Enclosed in the envelope was indeed a piece of Paul Stein's shirt covered in blood. Only a small piece, though.
So where's the big piece? But how the fuck? Surely they would have seen his face then. They've seen his face, so they know what he looks like. Mm-hmm. And how...
So, because of the recount of the children, that the kids that rang the police department when they seen Paul Stein's murder, and the officers that actually stopped and talked to him, would you like to see the composite sketch of this man? Mason's like, give me now. So, please describe to everyone this man.
Oh, wow. Okay. So he looks very old. Very old. One of his ears looks very... It kind of looks like it's been chomped out or something. I don't know.
Wait, let me have a look.
Because if you look at that one there's... Obviously, that could just be the drawing.
That might just be the drawing. And the shading is just a shading. Don't look too far into it.
He's got quite a small nose. Mm-hmm. Really, really wrinkled around the eyes. He's got like proper crow's feet and everything.
Yeah.
Really like fine eyebrows and quite
So
short hair.
the photo on the left is from the teenagers, and the photo on the right was from the officers.
That is very, very close.
It's pretty much the same drawing.
It is pretty much the exact same drawing. He's got quite a receding hairline. It's like a six head. He's got quite thick framed glasses as well. That is eerily similar.
Yeah. So that is now the man they're on the hunt for.
Fucking dickheads.
Thankfully, SFPD managed to get 3 fingerprints from that letter, but they still remain unmatched to any suspect. Thus far, authorities have observed the Zodiac to follow a few vague patterns. He had always attacked after sundown, well done Mason, on weekends, always attacked young couples in or near their cars, and always attacked in remote suburban areas near water. If he could now break his pattern by shooting a lone 29-year-old male in downtown San Francisco, they felt there was no reason why he couldn't follow through on his threat to wipe out a school bus. Within days, Bay Area bus drivers had received a special instruction on how to react if fired upon. The school bus threat was one that the Zodiac would return to in different forms. At the urging of San Francisco police, the Chronicle suppressed the threat for a week. On October 18th, a police composite sketch based on the teenage witness that I've just showed you was amended according to the descriptions given by the responding patrolman at Cherry Street and was distributed with the full content of the letter. So basically, that whole newspaper had that whole letter and that composite on the front page. It was during this time that the Zodiac's case began to garner exceptional press coverage, and tips to the killer's identity poured in from points as far as Houston, Atlanta, and St. Louis. At the same time, homicide detectives along the West Coast began to consider the Bay Area Killer, which is another serial killer. Have you guys ever heard of the Bay Area?
I think I've heard of it, but I don't know.
It's quite big in that area. They thought that the Bay Area Killer was a suspect in this case, but obviously wasn't anything to do with all of these killings anyway. But when it came to the school children, do you know what the police done? They literally they knew sort of the area that was going to be targeted because of the area of where it was, basically. And they got police sort of following. Oh, good.
Thank you.
Police following the front and the back, pretty much like getting the bus to and from the schools, just so that they can protect the kids. Because now you get kids involved, it's a bit fucked, isn't it? You don't get kids involved in any of this. Right. In November, he sent a letter to the San Francisco Chronicles that included a schematic drawing of a death machine that he claimed to have rigged and ready. It was designed to blow up buses. They passed them on to police after making copies for themselves, obviously, as all newspapers do. A source at SFPD was of opinion one or more latent prints may be developed on this letter, but no findings was ever made public. You ready for this letter? It's a long one, so I'll read it. Ow.
I can read it.
This is the Zodiac speaking. Up to the end of October, I have killed 7 people.
5.
I have grown rather angry with the police for their telling lies about me, so I shall change the way collecting of slaves. I shall no longer announce to anyone when I commit my murders. They shall look like routine robberies, killings of anger, and few fake accidents, etc. The police shall never catch me because I have been too clever for them. 1. I look like the description passed out only when I do my thing. The rest of the time, I look entirely different. I shall not tell you what my disguise consists of when I kill. 2. As of yet, I have left no fingerprints behind me. Contrary to what police say in my killings, I wear transparent fingertip guards. All it is 2 coats of airplane cement coated on my fingertips. Quite unnoticeable and very effective. 3. My killing tools have been brought in through the mail order outfits before the ban went into effect. Except one, and it was brought out of the state. So, as you can see, the police don't have much to work on. If you wonder why I was wiping the cab down, I was leaving fake clues for the police to run all over town with, as one might say. I gave the cops some bussy work to do to keep them happy. I enjoy needling the blue pigs. Hey, blue pigs, I was in the park. You were using fire trucks to mask the sound of your cruising prowl cars. The dogs never came in 2 blocks of me, and they were to the west. And there were only 2 groups of parking about 10 minutes apart from the motorcycles went by about 150 feet away, going from south to northwest. P.S. 2 cops pulled a goof about 3 minutes after I left the cab. I was walking down the hill to the park when this cop car pulled up, and one of them called me over and asked if I saw anyone acting suspicious or strange in the last 5 to 10 minutes. And I said there was this man running by waving a gun, and the cops peeled rubber and went around the corner as I directed them, and I disappeared into the park, 1.5 blocks away, never to be seen again. Hey pig, does it rile you up that your nose rubbed in your boo-boos? If you cops think I'm going to take on a bus the way I stated I was, you deserve to have holes in your heads. Take 1 bag of ammonium nitrate fertilizer and 1 gallon of stove oil and dump a few bags of gravel on top and then set the shit off. And it will positively ventilate anything that should be in the way of the blast. The death machine is already made. I would have sent you pictures, but you would be nasty enough to trace them back to the developer and then to me. So I shall describe my masterpiece to you. The nice part of all of this, all the parts can be bought on the open market with no questions asked. One bat power clock will run for approximately 1 year. One photoelectric switch, 2 copper leaf springs, 2 6-volt car batteries, 1 flashlight bulb and reflector, 1 mirror, 2 18-inch cardboard tubes, black with shoe polish inside and out. The system checks out from one end to the other in my tests. What you do not know is whether the death machine is at the site or whether it is being stored in my basement for future use. I think you do not have the manpower to stop this one by continually searching the roadsides looking for this thing, and it won't do to reroute and reschedule the buses because the bomb can be adapted to new conditions. Have fun. By the way, it could be rather messy if you try to bluff me. P.S. Be sure to print the part I marked out on page 3, or I shall do my thing. To prove I'm the Zodiac, ask the Vallejo cop about my electric gun sight when I used to start my collecting of slaves. End quote. He's getting angrier and angrier with every day that goes by. This guy is fucked in the head. So, I now have spoken about the victims and not much about the investigation that police have taken when it comes to the crimes, but nothing of significance happened during those murders. It wasn't really adequate enough to be noted by anyone. That is until Detective Dave Toshe was assigned to the case. I'm going to say Toshe because it's easier for me. Toshe ended up working the case by himself and filled 8 filing cabinets with potential suspects. In 1976, he told the Associated Press that the Zodiac's letter was an ego game. He believed the killer lived in San Francisco Bay Area. Quote, "He's a weekend killer. Why can't he get away Monday through Thursday? Does his job keep him close to home? I would speculate he maybe has a menial job, is well thought of and blends into the crowd. I think he's quite intelligent and better educated than someone who misspells words as frequently as he does in his letters." End quote. For years, the Zodiac sent taunts and threats to the police with a total of 15 letters. He sent taunts to the police who were also deciphering his cryptograms. So there was actually one that I read that I didn't put in this. He wrote, I think it's like a 13-letter cryptogram or something like that. And basically one of the cryptogrammers that was assigned to decrypt all of it, he got sent it personally, and he was the one that was taunting the Zodiac, going, "I dare you to put your name in one of the cryptograms and I will find out who you are and I will decrypt it and I will find out exactly who you are." So the Zodiac sent him this cryptogram and it literally just says, "Go fuck yourself," basically. It's actually quite comical because obviously you got these cryptograms thinking, "Oh my god, he's actually done it. It's not, it's him just taking the piss." However, after 1971, the letters just seemed to stop for 3 years. No one knew why, but the main suspicion that the killer had multiple personality disorder, which calmed down over time. The last letter, so the 15th letter from the Zodiac, so you've got to think, this is after the 3-year gap. This is total the last letter from the Zodiac. Mason, would you like to... Yes. So it goes on to the second page again. So just go from there down and I'll give you the other page in a minute.
I saw and think The Exorcist was the best comedy that I have ever seen. Signed, yours truly.
On top.
He plunged himself into the billowy wave, and an echo across from the suicide's grave. Titwillow, titwillow, titwillow. P.S. If I do not see this note in your paper, I will do something nasty, which you know I'm capable of doing. Me, 37. Ooh. SFPD 0.
Yeah, so basically, throughout all these letters, he's claiming to be doing all these other things, all these other murders, everything. He's claiming to do all of this. But as far as SFPD knows,
Excuse me.
there's only been those. Like, that's it. So, what the fuck, basically?
He did say that he was going to make them all start looking more accidents and casual.
Yes, he did. But he's one of these guys that he needs to have the attention. He needs to have the credit for it because that's what he thrives off of. I've honestly looked into this guy so thoroughly and looked into his mental state and what it possibly could be. He literally thrives off the attention. He thrives off of all of it. He's a bit of a narcissist. He needs everything to be about him. So for him to say, yes, you can look into this place and this place and this place and these killings and accidents and robberies, but he needs to have the sort of, he needs to take credit for that. You would have thought a guy like this who writes into newspapers and gives cryptograms and makes the attention all about him, you would have thought that he would have said something. But there's nothing. After Paul Stein's murder, there's nothing to connect him.
I mean, if you think about it, if those kids weren't there and hadn't witnessed that murder of that Paul guy, they may not have actually known about any of it.
Yeah.
So
but
that
then
could have been...
But no, they would have because he admitted to it in that letter.
Yeah, he admitted to it in that letter.
But that's what I'm saying.
But because they were there, because they had already showed up, that was probably why he admitted it. He was like,
what do you mean? Who showed up?
The police. The police literally came up to him and asked.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, yes, okay, if the police didn't see him physically and teenagers didn't see him physically, he still would have owned up to it in those letters because at this point...
Maybe.
He didn't know. At this point, he didn't know because if you remember, the composite sketch was printed with the letter that they sent him. They hadn't released that sketch yet until that newspaper with his corresponding letter saying that he'd done it. So he needs to have the credit. So, back to it. If anyone has watched the show on Netflix, this is the Zodiac speaking, then you will know that the police had their sights on one man and one man only. Arthur Lee Allen. He was an elementary school teacher with all the known killings took place. Guys, have you got that composite sketch that I handed you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a photo of Arthur Lee Allen. Do you want to describe what he looks like and then compare it to the composite?
Damn, he's chubby.
Oh, by the way. Yeah, that is Paul Stein's murder.
Damn.
You can't really see much. It's just the cab.
He looks quite different in this.
So just describe what he looks like and then describe the comparison.
Oh, first of all, he's got a double chin, whereas here he's got a bit of a jawline.
Okay.
His hair's a lot more receding than what it is there. Like it's like he's got no hair on the top of his head.
Yeah.
But he's got quite a bit of hair here.
In the sketch, yeah.
It's got the same kind of like the darkness around his eyes. It's quite similar.
His eyes are different shapes.
Slightly different shapes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, I say slightly, they're pretty different shapes.
Like the sketch, it looks like he's sort of like Asian.
It looks like he's squinting.
Okay, yeah, I see, yeah.
And then he's got a bit of thicker eyebrows as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nose is a little bit bigger. Bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Nose is bigger. And lips, they're larger as well.
Yeah.
It's very, there's no distinct facial features that say that's him.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense.
Right. So Arthur Lee Allen was an elementary school teacher when all of the known killings took place. Go on.
But he did say, I don't look like that when I'm doing my thing.
So what they have sketched and what the composite, he said he looks like that when he does this thing, but when he doesn't, he looks completely different.
I can see that. Yeah, I could. What could he have done?
Put glasses on and hair gel.
But he's got no hair on top of his head,
but
mate.
Wig.
What, like a toupee?
Yeah, some kind of toupee or something like that. But then, how the fuck did he sort out his double chin?
Unless they're not really focusing on that in the sketch and they just... Because they've all said he's a heavy-set male.
Yeah, and he looks heavy set. Whereas these composite pictures don't look heavy set.
But like I said, they could obviously the police officers said that he was a heavy-set male as well when they saw him, so they could have just not even bothered with the double chin because it's not a main thing that they're worried about at the moment. They just need to get a photo of this guy out.
Yeah.
So in the Netflix documentary, they spoke to a family who were around Arthur all of the time, and their mother was quite fond of him too. Arthur would take the children out in his car for road trips and ice cream without any adult supervision. Whilst teaching, he would teach the children how to make cryptograms. He was later convicted of being a sex offender and sent to it's sort of like a rehab facility. Do you want to take a wild guess for how long for?
3 years.
For 3 years.
Oh.
It later came about that the children of the family that he grew close to were drugged. Every time he went out with the children, he drugged them. And the eldest daughter was sexually assaulted by Arthur, but she has no recollection of any of this ever happening. It happened when he took two of them, the two eldest, to a race course down this sort of right down to the south of California, sort of. Took them there for the night. They stayed in their motel, and that's when it happened because the kids said they thought they were just tired, so they passed out. But yeah, on those road trips, I got it. No, I don't. I thought I did, but I didn't. On those road trips that you're taking with the children, they went to all of the places of the killings before it even happened. One of the children, obviously, who are adults now, they're all adults now, said that when she saw one of the murders on the news, she said to her family that she had been there with Mr. Allen. Arthur owned several handguns and kept one in his car at all times. Arthur was questioned for 20 years about the Zodiac killings, but nothing concrete was ever discovered to convict him of these gruesome and unprovoked attacks. Arthur died in 1992. He denied any involvement in this case until his last breath. Now, that is just basically little snippets that I've taken from that documentary. If anyone wants to know more about Arthur Lee Allen, please go and watch that documentary on Netflix because it deep dives into him. It talks to the families, it talks to the police officers involved in the case. it shows like home videos and photos and stuff. It's so good. And after obviously he was in correspondence with these children's mother for a long, long time. And all the children didn't know about it. Obviously, they've all grown up at this point. One of them's had a child of her own, still very much like, oh, Mr. Allen couldn't do anything to hurt anyone, still in denial. The boys, however, were like, we don't like this guy anymore. Like, he's not right in the head, basically. But he was still in correspondence with the mum. And it wasn't until after he died, he asked for the mum to find all the letters, and the kids found all of them. And all the letters between Mr. Allen and their mum. And it's quite weird. It's so strange. And he'd done interviews on the news. He'd done interviews for a lot of things. He was a big part of the media back then, because that's who the police were after, but they couldn't pin him down on anything. So, and even when he died, he had a letter in his hand that still said he did not do these killings. But a lot of things just point to him. Even the kids were saying that he taught them how, like, who knows how to do cryptograms? Who knows how to do that? And yet he's teaching the kids how to do it. It's very strange. So if you want to go watch the documentary, go and watch it, because it's amazing. So another man whose name has been around for years in connection to those murders was that of Richard Hoffman. Richard's name came back into light in the middle of last year when Jeremy Foy made a 4-part series on TikTok claiming that his own grandfather was the Zodiac Killer. I have watched those TikToks and it's a bit eerie, to be honest with you. A bit strange.
I remember you saying about that.
Yeah, yeah. He explained in his TikTok videos that his grandfather worked as a Vallejo police officer in California, where the Zodiacs occurred. When comparing physical appearances, Jeremy noted that his grandfather shared a physical similarities with the forensics illustration of the killer created using eyewitness accounts. I have a photo, a very old photo of Richard Hoffman. It's not what he is weird, because what he sort of looked like later on in life, you could see. I don't have a photo of that, but I've seen like clips of him. But this is Richard Hoffman.
Ooh.
Describe.
That. I can't get to. That is a lot closer, but it's still different.
Okay, explain what he looks like.
Thick eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't got a receding hairline. Quite a strong hairline, actually. Eyes, yeah, I guess they're quite narrow.
No.
Yeah. Lips, very similar.
And quite a pointy, small nose.
Yeah. Pointy nose, but the nose on the composite, whatever.
Yeah, composite sketch, yeah.
That one. They're a lot smaller and very rounded off, I guess. Whereas this is very, very pointy.
But it's hard to get a point view on
Yeah, there's that.
head on.
Yeah.
And the ears, actually.
Are pretty accurate.
Yeah. Like, you got
Yeah.
the ears there.
Yeah.
The ears,
And they're quite wide.
yeah, quite
Imagine
wide.
putting some glasses on that face.
That's it. I could see that being him.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you put gel in, it might reveal his
The hairline
a bit.
yeah.
Then with the glasses,
Let me tell you something, guys. Richard was the first to arrive at the crime scene where Darlene Ferrin was found murdered, so the second lot. He was wearing plain clothes and patrolling in an unmarked car near where the attack happened. Jeremy said he found it suspicious that Richard had claimed there were no cars in the area shortly before the shooting. He also alleged his grandfather had sent other responding officers away whilst he was tending to the scene. Meanwhile, he pointed out that Darlene's family received a call from a payphone outside Vallejo police station revealing she was shot before cops were even informed of the murder. Jeremy then draws attention to his grandfather's alleged suspicious behaviour when he discussed accompanying Darlene in the ambulance. Richard said, quote, "During the ride to the hospital, and of course her shirt or sweater, whatever she was wearing, was off. And each time that ambulance attendant blew air into her chest, there was a little piece of material from her bra that I could see fluttered. With every breath he blew into that girl, this piece of material would flutter." End quote. In the third part of the video, Jeremy said, "Something else about my grandpa. He was really horrible at spelling." I've seen police reports that compared. So Jeremy basically says that with his grandfather, he was really known to, you know how you spell until? It's got one L at the end, doesn't it? He was known to put two. And in the police reports, it's there, and like there's some comparison photos. And in the Zodiac letters, there's two L's. What are you looking for?
Some letters.
You haven't got the letters.
I don't. Yeah. Give me the letters. Give me the letters.
You want the letters?
I want the letters.
I don't think it's in these. I've only done, obviously, there was 15 letters. I'm not exactly going to put in all 15, am I?
Excuse me.
I don't think, I didn't see it when I was typing it out. So I don't think we've got it in these letters, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Probably not. But you can find it. Anyway, there is circled until and until, both with two L's. There's certain spellings that the Zodiac would do that Richard does as well. And
is Richard dead now?
I don't know. I didn't look that far into him. I just knew about Arthur Allen because it was a massive thing. So basically, everything that police have tried, it's just nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. So despite all evidence pointed to like some prominent suspects like Arthur Allen and Richard Hoffman, the Zodiac Killer still remains a mystery. There have been over 2,500 suspects, and not a single person has ever matched the fingerprints left on the letters or been in the same area as the killing when they were carried out. Now, Bailey, you did mention about merch, didn't you?
Huh?
You did mention about merch,
yeah.
didn't you? So I know, I read in one of the letters that he got angry because people weren't wearing badges with the Zodiac symbol on it. And he was asking the newspapers, you need to get people to wear like merch. Pretty much, he wanted people to be him and to know him. He wanted to be the biggest name that there was out there. But unfortunately, it didn't really happen. A lot of people know more of him now than they did back then. Also, it was a massive case back in the day. But you got to think, back then,
news wasn't spreading as quick as today.
Exactly. And it was a lot harder to get news out there as well. And like today, we've got like TikTok and Instagram and all that, or you can just post whatever the fuck you want. And there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of people going, is this person, is this person, this person? And, you know, it's like a lot of people nowadays are so into solving unsolved mysteries. It's just a thing now. So they're finding cold cases from back in the day, and they're trying to do all of this now, which I find fantastic. If police could actually do it, if police could take over and actually like solve these cases, fair play, because we've got a lot more technology now that we could possibly do it.
This I heard this story a few years ago. This uni student solved this crime that no one could for like 20 years.
Wow.
And so he got a massive payout, which paid for his uni.
Wow.
And then I think he then got a job in becoming like an investigator, but skipped the first like couple of years of being an assistant and whatever.
What, because he solved that case?
The case that no one could solve, and he got like a 50 grand payout or something for solving it.
What? I think we better solve some cases, boys.
Mm.
So there have been films, documentaries, and books. Have you obviously you wouldn't know. There is a film about the Zodiac Killer, and it's got a few famous faces in there as well. So if anyone wants to watch the film, go watch the film. It's bloody brilliant. Yeah, films, documentaries, and books. So the main guy in Vallejo newspaper, he wrote a book about all these murders because he was front and center with the police. He was going side by side with Detective Toshi. Like, he was with the whole thing. And so he wrote a book about it. And it was like #1 top seller for fucking ages as well. The letters haunt the last surviving detectives on the original case. The people at the newspapers that received those letters still have the memories surrounding the time they didn't know what type of letter they were to open next. Whether it was...
Helicopter.
Sounds like it's like circling.
It is. They do it all the time around here anyway. They didn't know whether it was going to be a confession or a threat. Over the years, there have been multiple people trying to solve this case and send in findings to police. But until something that is undeniable proof, without a shadow of a doubt, comes into the hands, the case will forever go unsolved. There's nothing anyone can do about it unless it's solved. So that is the case of the Zodiac Killer. Mason's head, you can hear the burning of the cogs turning in his head.
He doesn't like cliffhangers, so the fact there's no finish to the story.
You're welcome.
We watched that documentary.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember how many episodes it is. I think it's like 8 or something like that.
That's fine.
It is, no, honestly, it's really, really, really good. If anyone wants to watch it, I highly recommend it. It's fascinating. Really is. But when it comes to the Zodiac, the one thing that I find amazing about that guy, it's weird. I say amazing. I
know what you mean. Don't worry.
I do need to clarify though, because I don't want to sound this fucking weird.
Intriguing.
Yes, thank you, intriguing. Because I'm very interested on how people with like a serial killing tendency and carry out those serial killing like things, how they think and how they act, and how, like with him, he's talking to police through newspapers and letters and cryptograms. Who thinks of fucking cryptograms? Like, he's so switched on. He must be so switched on to be able to come up with things like that and get away with it. And we're 60 years down the road now and he's still got away with it. That is what fascinates me. Not in a case of, okay, so if you do this, you can get away with it. And it's the case of, he's done that. He's got away with that. How? How has no one picked up on certain things that has happened? They haven't even reported on a lot of things. Like the very beginning of all these murders, like back to the very first with Betty and David, like that nothing was done. There was an intense investigation, but because it was only them two that was going like at that time, it was a small team. Yeah, okay, they were investigating and they were trying their fucking hardest, but for 7 months they still had nothing. 60 years on the road, we still don't have anything apart from these fingerprints that no one's matched to.
But you did say in the letter that the fingerprints you think you've got are rubbish. I put that cement stuff on. So if
Whose fingerprints are there then?
Whoever's paper it
Unless
was
he
in
did
the
have someone
library
else.
or in a shop.
Maybe.
Or in a printer in an office. It could be wherever he took the paper from.
I do say though, when anyone watches the documentary, do not get so fixated on Arthur Lee Allen. Because there are things, like you've seen the composite compared to him, there are so many things that don't add up when it comes to framing him for all of this. There's so much. Even Detective Toshi down the line, I think it was in like 2010 or something like that, he turned around and said there was so many things that was just not adding up when it came to Arthur Lee Allen. That's why they couldn't even arrest him, because of, like, even if they thought about it, they couldn't do it because they didn't have enough. And they couldn't just do speculation. They couldn't arrest him on speculation.
But then, if he's so, like, egotistical, if the police got the wrong person, he would probably let them know. Because he wouldn't want others taking the glory.
Yeah, but this is what I found very, really strange. So in the 3 years that Arthur Lee Allen was in that sort of rehab facility, there wasn't any letters. So that's sort of making them point towards Arthur Lee Allen. But this is why I find very confusing. If he didn't want to get caught. Just doesn't want to get caught. I reckon that the Zodiac Killer is now long dead. I really do think that, because there's no way in hell that with all the technology now that they would be able to get away with anything, really. So I think that this is what I don't understand, because when Arthur Lee Allen was away and there was no letters for 3 years, it was pretty much making it look like it was Arthur Lee Allen. Even if it wasn't, that's very clever, because you're putting it away from yourself and putting it onto someone else. But if he's so egotistical that he needed that attention, needed that credit, surely he would have kept writing. That's what I don't understand. But then a lot of things point away from Arthur Lee Allen and point to Richard Hoffman. So, do you get why I get really frustrated by this case? Because it's like it's like so many different things. It points to like this person. Oh wait, no, because that doesn't match them, but it matches them. It's literally like you've got like 500 people that could have possibly done it.
Who knows? One day someone might die, and in their will it might be a confession.
Who knows? Possibly. Knowing the Zodiac Killer, most probably. Most probably. But like I said, I reckon that the Zodiac is no more. I don't know. I think that the letter stopped in, I think it was like 90s. I think it was the 90s the letter stopped. So I think after that, he died. I don't even think it reached 2000. Wow. I can't actually remember when the last letter was sent. But after that, that was it. I honestly don't reckon Zodiac's alive. And that last letter saying about the
he would have done something.
He would have done something. But yeah, and that last letter about like The Exorcist and everything, I think that was just his final fucking goodbye. I don't know what's happened. But if anyone's got any information, send it over to police, because obviously police are still working on cold cases. They get them up every now and then. And I know that San Francisco would really, really appreciate like someone trying to help them solve this serial killer case, because it's, fucking hell. But welcome back to Unfiltered Friendship. We're back. Woo! You were about to say, you're still thinking about it, Mace. Yeah.
I'll be here for ages thinking about it. So I'll be thinking about it when I'm sleeping. So
you won't ever be able to figure it out. If I couldn't figure it out, you won't be able to figure it out.
You don't know that.
I live with true crime. I listen to it all the fucking time. Ow. I'm getting really uncomfortable now.
Is that a challenge?
Ow, fuck. Challenge.
Accepted.
Okay.
Well,
So that is it for this week, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's been a long one, but I loved it. Did you guys like it?
Yep.
Yes, very nice.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good.
Very
Very
good.
nice.
If you've got anything that anyone wants to say, please email unfilteredfriendship@gmail.com or drop me a WhatsApp on 0759 111 5523.
faster.
How did I fucking remember? That just came out. How did I remember that?
Muscle memory.
Muscle memory. Fuck. Follow on TikTok and Instagram, Unfiltered Friendship, the podcast. This year is going to be a good year. We got a lot of stuff going on this year. You two have got exciting news, which we will dive into next week.
Yeah.
And who knows where this year will take us.
Yeah.
Come back next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.